I know you talked about Sillinger a little bit yesterday. I have a slightly different question in that I'm sure you're not surprised that in his second year he's had some struggles.
No.
We've seen guys go through that before. Are you a little surprised at the length to the struggles have gone as far as statistically?
Yes and no. You're hoping to have your full squad. Then I think it puts some depth and layers in place to help guys along, especially young guys, right? And then, it doesn't start well for him personally, but our team. And then, then the injuries hit, and then it just gets thin. And so it's without surrounding yourself. It's five guys on the ice, right? This isn't a one-man sport. It's not tennis. It's not golf. This is you need five-man units, and so I'm not fully surprised because it's been hard for everybody to get traction, and for him personally, he cares. He puts the work in. He's frustrated, but. We've got a lot of hockey left, and we're hoping his best hockey's ahead of him here.
When you go, not to make excuses, but you go all the way back to training camp, and he has that early injury, and that keeps him out for a lot of camp, and then I think the end of it, you got back in there with preseason. It just kind of sets things off, makes it kind of a difficult thing right from the start.
Yeah, it's not an excuse, but it is a reality. Right. In anybody that misses camp, for the most part. There's the exception to every rule, but I feel like as a group, you go in together and, you've put all this work in the summer. And no matter how much you've worked off the ice and your skates, camp's different. There's a different feel to it and that competitiveness and that work that you kind of go through together. And to miss, he was out really 30 minutes into the first practice after putting in a tremendous summer of work, and then missed a good chunk, and I think he caught the last game, And so, yeah, you fall behind, and nobody's fault. You just do. So does it set you back for the whole year? No, but it's like every time you're hurt, you're behind. Yeah. No matter how hard you work, to play hockey or to be on point, you have to be playing hockey. The league's not waiting for you, right? They're playing games, and everybody's getting up to speed, and then it gets ramped up. You got your first 10 games, and everybody's feeling their way through. At game 20, everybody's kind of locked in, and you kind of go through this progression. The longer you're out, we have guys coming back in. Blanks has been out 2 months. He hasn't been the same, but he's played a couple games. It's going to take some time. Like Boone was out a month. Team practice. He's back in, so it's going to take him some time. And, you see the jersey and you're like, all right, they're back. But getting up to speed, getting up, those reps, the contact, the physicality, the schedule, you can't replicate it. You can't ride a bike, you can't run on a treadmill, you have to get out there and do it, and you're playing catch up a lot. So I think a lot of guys have been in that boat with the amount of injuries and just trying to find their groove and rhythm and consistency.
What do you tell Liam Foodie at this point? I know he's working hard, doesn't have a goal. How much would it help him just to get one in the net when he's
I don't know if a goal helps him. You hope it does, but really it's, the work part of it, that's required. We shouldn't be talking. You work hard. Okay, that's good. Everybody should be doing that. You have to impact the game in more areas, and that's a conversation I have with all our players. Quite honestly, it's I said it a couple of games ago with Boone Jenner, the way he can impact the game in the faceoff circle with his physicality, with blocking a shot, with his tenacity on a forecheck. You see his thumbprint all over. You can't be a one-trick pony. You can't just score goals. You can't just be fast. You can't just be, that's good. But you have to, if you're not going to score, if you're not getting on the score sheet, goals and assists, I can name you 10 things right off the top of my head to impact the game in a positive way, or you're impacting it in a negative way. So you have to be on the positive side of it every night. And again, he's not alone. I had a lot of guys to choose from to sit out in this. And so, from last game. And so he's a young guy. He's trying to figure that out and what that looks like. And we've had many conversations, and he's going to have to add to the toolbox.
Brad Cole's maturity, I think, impressed all of us right from the day he arrived. How has that maturity helped him through not only a tough stretch in the season, but the last couple of games where he hasn't played?
You got to remember he's 19, right? He's a really mature kid, but he's still a kid. That's the part of it. He's a kid, and it takes time. You just have to go through things, and this is his first, bit of adversity in the NHL. Last year he went through a little bit of it, but as far as his first year, when you come in with There's not really a lot of expectations. You know how that it is, and now you set the bar for yourself. One way or another, you set a bar after your first year where you want to be for the next year. So it didn't start well. You know, he got banged up there in camp. It doesn't get off to a good start. The team doesn't get off to a good start. It kind of snowballed the wrong way. So this is for a young man, it's a lot, you know, and trying to work through it, and us trying to help him through and what that looks like. And again, the same conversation I've had with Liam and other guys. Okay, there's many ways to impact this game, and especially being a centerman. So take your focus off the production, right? Because that's a dangerous thing to do. You're trying to get the result without putting all the the process in place. And so if you can take your attention off that and focus on how I'm going to impact the game in a positive way, I think the production comes, right? You get consistent in that. I think, you know, it's not a work ethic thing with him. You know he works. You know he cares. You know he's putting in the time. So he's got to work through this, and he's not alone. This is a team thing. There's a coach is trying to help, and he's going to help himself.
He doesn't strike me as a guy who would hang his head over any of this. That he would just dig in and work harder. Has that been his approach?
He's had a great response to watching games. I've had good conversations with him about what he saw. He saw the Detroit game, and then he saw the other game. So it's a really good visual of both. You know, what did you see in both games? And you know, it's the first time he's done that at this level of watching. I'm sure he probably didn't do it in junior A or in those lower levels either, because he's a main guy for them. So different experience, and not happy about it, which is great. Shouldn't be. Understands, but put the work in. And that's key. He's responded the right way, and you know, I'm sure he's hungry to get back in tonight. He'll be in. Speaking
of response, it was clear you weren't happy with the effort last night, and you turned right around in 24 hours. How do you inject that type of effort that you want to have 24 hours later?
Yeah, you know, you're angry probably more after the game, and then once you watch the video back, and then, you know, it was more disappointment, especially after how we played in Detroit. Like you start to see a rhythm to the game, you start to see five-man groups and efforts, how they were going about their business. We have to have an ability to push back when they're pushing. And the Rangers were good last night. I don't think it was even their A game. I think they were good, but I don't think that they were coming at us. I don't think we checked well enough. I don't think we were tenacious enough. I think once they pushed, we sagged. And we can't sag in those moments. You have to push back. We're coming in the building tonight. They always start fast. They're a big, heavy team. They're going to come at you in waves. So you better be ready to push back. And that's what we got to get better at.
Yeah, you can say it, but there's no switch you can flip, right?
You got to go through it and do it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the guys on the ice, the five guys on the ice got to do it. And you can't look to your teammate. You got to take that initiative on yourself.
Does Cole come back in at center tonight?
Yeah.
In the process of elimination, would that be?
I'm not going to give you the rest of my lines. Cole will be at center. You can eliminate whatever you
Let
want.
me ask you this, though.
Sure.
Kent has had a bit of a run here at center,
Yep.
obviously. His production has gone down as far as stats. What have you seen over the course of him playing center? I mean, has it affected his effectiveness, I guess, in the offensive zone, do you feel?
No, that should help you. I think that's got nothing to do with the offensive zone center. That's more in the details of the defensive side of it, really, when you're center.
Right.
Except for the face-off circle. But, you know, for him, again, I'll go back to a young guy. We're at game 43 now, I think that's where we're at. And how many games do they play in college?
Yeah.
Right? So these are things that these guys are going to go through. He's not alone. There's other first-year guys, young guys. You can talk to him about it. We're day on, day off, day on, day off. We're in the middle of 4 and 6, 5 and 8. We're going to be on a road trip again and traveling in time zones. And again, it's great to talk about, but until you go through it, you have to feel it, experience it. And, you know, when you see older veteran teams and they've been through it, they've been through the grind, they know how to handle those situations and how to manage the games, maybe when you're a little bit tired. So how do you be productive, and how can you impact the game when maybe you don't have full energy? That's part of it. The NHL really at a premium, because I bet you can put it on one or two hands where you feel outstanding for the game, and the rest, you feel good. And then there's a lot of nights you don't have it. So how do you work through that? You know, and a college schedule, you're playing twice a week. You got a couple rest days, workouts, like plenty of recovery. This is a whole new type of workload that these guys have never faced. So sometimes production goes down. Maybe you're lacking in energy, or that extra jump that you're going to need to get by guys, and because that affects your focus.
Right.
It does. When you're low in energy, it's hard to process it. Things are coming at you quicker, and that's where the best players, they manage those games. They calm their minds when maybe they don't have their best. They still execute. They find a way to impact the game in a positive way. And he's one of probably several that they're going through it now. Really, the NHL's starting now,
Yeah.
right? It really is. Like we're halfway through. Those next 20, 30 games are really hard. And not talking about the last team because that's just a sprint to get in, right? So.
Kind of like the dog days in baseball.
Yeah, everyone says dog days. I don't know. It is what it is, but it's wear and tear days. I can tell you that. You don't feel your best. You're traveling a lot. Everybody talks about, like, we look at our schedule. I'm like, holy, are you kidding me? Talk to every other team. Holy smoke, you see our schedule? We're all going through it, right? So it's not like we're the only ones playing back-to-backs and 4 and 6s and 5 and 8s. It's just that's the demand of an NHL schedule. So you're going to go through it one way or another, and how you handle it, you have to go through it for young guys and old guys too.
Cole, what have the last couple of days been like for you, and how eager have you been to get back at it?
Yeah, I think just using that time is kind of like a little bit of a reset. Maybe take a step back and watch the game from a little different perspective, and I think that was good for me. But yeah, you never want to be that guy, and ready to go tonight. Bring some energy, bring some fire, and yeah, it's nice to be back.
It's all about learning, right? What did you learn from the experience?
Yeah, I just think that, like I said, just watching the game from up top, you see kind of just a view of a different kind of aspect. I think just having maybe a little bit more time, you think, with the puck, and I think just for myself, taking a couple strides in the right direction could open up a lot more space, and winning one-on-one battles in the walls and stuff like that, and then getting your head up and making the next play. I think that for me is something that really stands out up top is once you kind of beat your guy or win a puck battle, then if you get your feet moving, you're gonna have a little bit of time, not a lot, but more than you think when you're out there. And I think for me, just doing that, getting back to that, and I think that'll create some more chances in the ozone, and obviously just staying plugged in and playing hard and checking all over the ice.
We asked Lars about this, and he said, it's not just about scoring goals and getting points on the score sheet. It's about all the little things that lead to that, right? Is that kind of what you're discovering as well?
Yeah, exactly. I think I could be the type of player from not producing, can still try to make an impact in other ways. And I think I've slipped a little bit away from that, and just like I said, this is time to just really reset and get back to it and start building with the game tonight.
Did this surprise you?
It happens. You never want to be out of the lineup watching your teammates, your brothers battle, and you not be able to be a part of it. But it's just kind of more of a reset than anything. Surprised or not surprised, I think everyone goes through it, and just kind of with the way this year has gone, it's good to kind of take a step back and just watch the game from a different perspective.
Lars was in here. He said he thinks you're kind of obviously not happy about it, and motivated to get back in there. Did this tick you off a little bit?
A little bit. I think you have like you said, you never want to be the guy watching your team and stuff like that, and you just you have a conversation, and I think that just selling your opinion and stuff like that. I think that's where you learn the most, right? Is to really understand what's going on, why is happening, and I think that's how you learn more, and that's when you come back in, you can really make changes. Is having that conversation, and it was good to do that and break it down and see how the last couple of games were going, and for sure gonna try to bring a different game tonight.